Yes, hello guys. Wolfgang here. Welcome to this new video on my channel. It's about ChatGPT again, and there was recently an update. I've already made another video about it, but in this video, I would like to go into a little more specific detail about this new function of your own GPTs. So not only can we use the standard ChatGPT and customize it a bit with custom instructions, but we can now create our own specifications, our own GPTs, for different use cases. And that's what we'll look at now after the intro. Okay, I'll go directly to my screen because of course I have to show that to you. That's the new interface. You can currently only see this as a ChatGPT Plus or Enterprise user, so the normal free account doesn't see it here now. We now have a new view here. We have this Explore button. If we click on it, we will end up in this My GPTs area, or we will also find the GPTs that have already been supplied by OpenAI. The plan behind it is that at some point there will probably be a kind of store here where you can also use other people's GPTs, perhaps even for a fee at some point, and you can even sell your own ones. But we can now create our own GPTs here. And you see, I've already experimented a bit. I've already created a few. But what is the point of this, and how can it be applied? You probably already know the custom instructions that you can find here. This means we have been able to give ChatGPT certain specifications for a long time. We were able to give him information such as who we are, what we do, who is the target group of what we do, and so on. But we were also able to tell him how he should answer. So what tone of voice is casual, friendly, or formal, polite, and so on. You could write a lot in there. And that ensured that the output that ChatGPT generates is in our style or in the style that we want. And if you only use it alone, then it's actually okay. That's usually enough. We could also turn this off for certain chats or turn it on again. But if you now have certain areas of application where you might want to vary the tone of voice, because you might not only be writing texts for yourself, but maybe also for customer projects or friends or whatever, then you have to go here and change these custom instructions using copy and paste. I know a few people who have created a real library, and depending on the application and for whom they are writing texts, something else is then copied in, and you can now create that very ingeniously or very easily with your own GPTs. Because we can also store such instructions here for each GPT, so to speak. That would be a use case. The other thing is, if you often have recurring tasks, if you want to use the same prompt again and again, you usually had to proceed in such a way that you might have created a library where you could then always copy and paste it. This can now also be made much easier here, and I would now like to show an example. I have already saved various prompts in my Evernote that I use very often. And a prompt is, for example, a promo post or advertising postings for my Typo 3 newsletter. I do this 2 or 3 times a month on ChatGPT and have a few social media posts generated to promote my Typo 3 newsletter on social media. Yes, that would actually be this prompt here. So I'm saying very precisely what I want and what's possible. Who is the target group? What should be done? And I can usually just copy the prompt and then something good comes out of it. It has also developed over time. It wasn't always that long, but rather it complemented itself every now and then. And I would just copy it here to the clipboard and now go back in here and create a new GPT. And we now have several options here. We see Create and Configure up here. At Create, we can work our way through the creation of a GPT a bit interactively. We can say what we want to do, but we can also go to Configure and simply write these instructions directly here. That works too. And if you know what you want, then that's okay. On the right, we have a preview area. So as soon as we have entered something here, we can also test what comes out here. And I would now like to do a newsletter promo GPT. I now simply call it newsletter promo, promotion for my Typo 3 newsletter. So now we have this instructions area, and I'll just copy this in here. What I got from my notes, I could adapt and change this at any time. This can also be done later. Then we can create so-called conversion starters here. These are these fields, these commands that you will see here above this input window later. One could be, for example, write me the social media posts or generate suitable images for me, for example. Then we can upload files here. Of course, that's also very cool if you want to share certain facts, certain data. Then you can upload PDF documents, text documents, Word documents, for example, which contain further information. For example, if you want to write text for customer, you could upload a file here that might contain a lot more information about the customer. What does he do? What are the customers? What is the target group? What are they selling? You know what I mean? The more information we give ChatGPT, the better. And that can now also be in file form. Then we can activate the skills here. In this case, I would leave web browsing and DALL-E image generation active here. You don't necessarily have to use code interpreters here. And these actions, I have to be honest, I haven't quite figured out how to use them yet. You can probably get data from external tools somehow, but I still haven't been able to deal with that. I'll have to see if I can do something about it in the future. Of course, we can also generate an image. Then we leave at the top and we can either upload an image or we can use DALL-E directly, which then generates an image based on what we have entered here. And we'll just see what comes out of it, whether it's any good or not. So now, an image has been generated. Yeah, it's not so appropriate now, but yeah, whatever. If necessary, you could replace it or have it regenerated. Now we can test the whole thing here on the right. I can now click on Write me the social media posts, and then we'll see what happens. He starts with Instagram, which I think is also written here in the order. Exactly, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Mastodon. Let's see what comes out of it. And that looks pretty good. He uses emojis and icons on Instagram. Well, the link, of course, you have to look at it. On Instagram, I would rather write something like link in bio or something like that. But then we move on to Facebook. Now it's just hanging here a bit again. He's been doing this a lot lately. What strikes me is that he always writes us. Here now, I actually had in my instructions or here in this information that he should write in the first person. That doesn't work sometimes lately. This is not the first time here, but well, that can still be corrected if necessary. Of course, he hung himself here. I can now click Generate Next here, but it actually looks pretty good. I could leave it like that. Let's see why he doesn't do that with this we or here with the first person form. Write in the first person, perhaps like this. Then we'll see that as soon as I change something here, it'll gray out and I can test here again. So I'll just start the whole thing again and see what comes out of mine. Yes, now he's doing that right. Okay, weird. As I said, sometimes it doesn't really work at the moment, but it doesn't matter. We usually still have to correct the texts anyway. Okay, I'll stop this and then save the whole thing. If I'm happy with the result, then we can click Save at the top. And now I can select 3 options here. Once I can save the whole thing just for myself, and it is only available in my account, then only people with a link. This means I could share a link to this promo GPT newsletter with others. However, as far as I know, they also need a Plus subscription, or I could make the whole thing public, then it would appear in this store at some point, which we can now see in this tooltip here, coming soon. Now I'll do only me and confirm the whole thing, and then he should save it now. It was saved and now appears here on the left in this bar, and I'm now directly in here and could now have the posts generated, or then, of course, build on them, and, for example, have him write me an email and so forth. We can also here, if we click on the 3 dots on these GPTs in the left bar, hide GPTs from the sidebar here. Of course, you can see them here at Explore, or if you go to My GPTs down here, they are, of course, there. But maybe at some point you have a lot of them and don't want to have them all here in the sidebar, then you can simply hide them here. Yes, and you can imagine, if we go back in here right now, that you can, of course, create your own GPTs for different projects, for different target groups, for different customers, to whom you give very specific knowledge, who have their own style, how they then write the texts, or even various abilities activated. Maybe you need this code interpreter to generate some files or something, and that's very cool. I'm still learning a bit about it myself, and It's a brand new feature. In principle, this has only been around for a few days, and I think it's very cool because it will definitely save me a lot of work, I think, or save me even more time because I won't have to copy paste from Evernote or other tools anymore. I'll just have it click everything here, and with 2 clicks, I start generating any text, social media posts, whatever. Yes, feel free to take a look at it. I hope you also enjoyed this video now, and if so, then definitely give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Activate the bell, you know all the sayings, and then hopefully we'll see you in a future video. Feel free to write in the comments whether you already use this feature, how you use it, and what videos you might want to see on this channel. So feel free to leave a few topic suggestions. What are you interested in? On which topics should I create videos? Maybe I can help you a little bit, so take care. See you then.